And welcome to the Homeboy Sports Network, news and views with an attitude. My colleague in Ohio right now, Mike Johnson, with us. Mike, how are you?
What's up?
We're here, baby. We're here. It's Jose Gutierrez, Love It J. And big news today. We were getting this fresh off the press, fresh from the insiders, and now it's outside. Everybody knows. Willie Taggart out as Florida State University, the Seminoles football coach. He's gone. What do you think?
No surprise, no shock. Mediocre program ever since. Seems like Jimbo Fisher knew the writing on the wall.
I think he precipitated it too. Before you go any further, I think it began with him. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, it did, and I think he knew. I think he knew that there wasn't much left in the talent pool, which I don't see why, or he thought that he couldn't do much with it. And Florida State went out and hired Willie Taggart out of Oregon, which I really wasn't too. I didn't know a lot about Willie Taggart and a lot about the hire from the outset. Didn't seem like a good match or a good fit, and here we are.
Well, from what I understand, go ahead.
Was a 4-5 start after another mediocre year last year. I'm not sure what was their record last year, Jose?
5-7 in 2018. 4-5 right now, 2019.
Yeah, man. That's not gonna get it done, man. That's not gonna get it done. And let's get the elephant out of the room. Coaches that look like Willie Taggart don't have a lot of leeway when it comes to football in the South. So there was not a lot of room for error there.
Very politically correct of you. I'm going to go ahead and say it, a black coach. And Tier 1 division football in the South especially, you're not getting mediocre seasons. You do not have the same leeway, consideration, and patience that other coaches have. And I look at Charlie Strong as an example. Even that pitiful run that Sylvester Croom had down in Mississippi State, which I really liked their program with Jackie Sherrill was there. But from what I understand, we'll get into this. I'll just give a little background and foreground. Willie Taggart, from what I understand, his dream job is Florida State. He coached at South Florida and had a nice run there, and then went to Oregon and left them. I wonder how they feel. They must feel like this is like grand karma. Because they liked him in the Pacific Northwest. They liked him up in Eugene. And he said, I'm out of here, when they offered him the position down at Florida State. And he inherits this job from Jimbo as Florida State appears to be sliding down. Remember, this is the season when Francois broke his leg, and they just began to decline that year. They became almost a 500 program after that injury. Jimbo leaves. Willie Taggart comes in. And, I want to get your perspective, Mike, on what was your feeling of the program, because I just, to inject this, they just seem mediocre and pathetic from everything I could see. Not just the losses, but the way they play. And that's totally non-signature of that entire state culture of football, especially the top tier of Florida State. The attitude alone is worth about 4 wins a season.
Yeah. So what's interesting about Florida football in general, the past, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 years, with the exception of that one Florida State run that they had, that Jimbo was there. It's not been good, man. Florida's just now turning back. They're just getting their footing right now. Miami is nowhere to be found from a national perspective, and then Florida State. And you would have thought that with the recruiting bed that Florida has and all those athletes and all that talent down there, you wonder what's going on. You wonder what's going on, and it just goes to show you just can't stick anybody out there to be the coach. You really have to have a solid coach who can recruit, can keep the athletes in the state of Florida, there should be a wall around Florida where no one gets out of those three schools. And you look at it, and I don't know. I know Ohio State has players that they come down and snatch from Florida. We have a huge pipeline from Ohio State to Florida. I would imagine that schools like
Alabama,
Georgia, Alabama, LSU, they're coming out there just poaching players, man. And if you're a kid from Florida right now, why wouldn't you? Florida State, since you've been, the past however many years have not been good since you've been of age. So why would you go there?
I think you're right. When you look at the sophistication of players now, there's a heightened awareness of their own value.
Mm-hmm.
And the U on the side of the helmet, the spear on the side of the arrow on the side of the Seminole helmet, it just doesn't have the same resonance right now. And it's easy to just pass them up. I mean, there's players who are at Florida International, Florida Atlantic, and South and Central Florida who normally would go to the U or Florida State because these schools actually have some programmatic outlook. Even if they're in kind of the big the group of five conferences, they still have cohesion, and they'll still come into Florida and Florida State right now and win. They'll win right now. Some of those schools.
Right.
And
right.
So I think your point is taken. I think when you're disconnected, I feel like the administrations are disconnected, and I know that sometimes this is how prejudice works in another backfiring way. Like people want to be overtly promotional, and not that this is the case with Willie Taggart, although I didn't see him as such a great coach in the first place. Not that he was a bad coach, but I mean he had a pretty good season at Oregon, one season.
Right.
And I'm not mad at him for jumping ship to get to his dream school, but it's like the dream school you might have been, I won't even say he's not a bad hire, but the performance was mediocre, and you got to give coaches 3 to 5 years, full years. He's got 1.5 years, like 1 3/4 of a season, and this is what we were talking about off in the pre-production. Black coaches do not have that kind of cushion, I believe.
Not down there. Maybe somewhere, a school like Illinois, they'll give you some leeway because the program is not up to snuff. They're happy to get to a
500.
In a Rose Bowl every 36 years. And so, hey, it is what it is. So Lovie Smith, he's like, hey, it's going to take me some time to build this program. And actually, they are turning it around. But schools down in the South, man, I don't think you have that same leeway. You go to a school like Georgia, you go to a school like Florida, Florida State, Mississippi State,
Texas,
Tennessee.
Let me add this so people don't get it twisted, because everything is not completely based on the poison of skin colors that our country possesses, this disease of racism. I'll say this. Any coach at those schools we just mentioned who's mediocre for too long, you're a product.
You ain't gonna make it. What was the dude's name that was at Florida a couple years ago? What's his name?
Zook, Mullen. Who else is in there?
What was that guy's name? I can't remember the name. He did not look like a head coach. I'll tell you. I'll put it to you like that.
Okay, I'm not sure who.
Look him up. Look him up. You'll know. You can look at him. You're like, this is good. This is your coach. I can tell you right now, he ain't gonna make it. You can tell. You can tell a lot. You can tell a lot about the way a player looks, way a coach looks. If they're gonna make it or not. And he was one of those dudes that, he wasn't gonna make it.
Well, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, man. So, that's it's unfortunate, but it's not surprising. I could have told you that. Willie Taggart, man, he wasn't going. I could have told you from the outset. It wasn't a good hire.
Well, man, that's tough. I don't know But from what I saw, I was totally unimpressed with just the demeanor, the demeanor of the program and the attitude and the lackadaisical, like it's gonna be okay kind of attitude.
You know what though? I will say this, Jose. Maybe Willie Taggart is the type of dude that doesn't take a lot of shit from a lot of people, especially from his players.
Yeah.
And if you notice, Randy Shannon, when he was down in Florida, when he was at the U, they didn't perform very well either. You know the type of character he has. You know, maybe he didn't put up with a lot of shit, taking a lot of suspect players with questionable character, and maybe that was the case with Willie Taggart. You know, maybe the type of person he was, he wasn't going to take a lot of suspect players, and not all, but some. You know, if you're good, you know, you're going to have players with a little bit of edge to them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And maybe that's just, maybe that was just it. Maybe his, I hate to say it, maybe it was a good thing, but maybe his program was too clean, so to speak.
But see, now you're talking business. Now, you can be that coach who allows some renegade, but if you win, you look past the renegade.
Oh yeah, we'll look all past that. You know, hey. You know, but I'd be kind of curious to find out what type of player. You know, I think probably doesn't sound like Willie Taggart maybe he didn't take a lot of shit and wasn't going to put up with no foolishness on his squad, and so maybe that had something to do with it as well. But I don't know, man.
I like that, but this is not Missouri. This is not Harvard. This is not a conduct program. This is a championship program. And I actually respect that, but still the tenacity, like if you're losing, you have to look like you're turning corners. You have to look like we're making progress. If we're losing, you got to feel the fight. Because if firing him right now means Florida State will avoid the grand collapse of the Nebraska program, I'm totally for it. Nebraska is shambles, and it's terrible. You know, it's terrible. And Arkansas is the same way. Arkansas is in shambles. That was a former formidable program just not too dang long ago. But,
oh, my God. Don't you start about Arkansas and Brett Bielema. Man, oh, man, oh, man.
My God.
We're gonna have to do a whole nother show on this.
I think you were talking about Jim McElwain at Florida.
That's exactly what. Does he look like a head coach to you?
He didn't perform like a head coach to me.
But did he look like one? See, he didn't even look like one to me. I told you from the outset, and that's not a good look. That is not a good look.
Well, I just feel like I think the summation of this is I think this is a pretty weak. Either it's a strong, smart, swift move, or it's a totally weak move by Florida State. The buyout was $17 million. They got to pay that man. And
and he'll happily take his money.
I'll take it.
All right, man. I would take it. All right, man.
Final word.
Say what?
Are you wrapping up?
I'm wrapping up. I have to. We have to table this discussion. I have to get back to. Well, shit. I'm just gonna keep it real, man. I got to get back and get these kids settled because of
this is the Homeboy Sports Network, man. We don't need to hear about family talk. Okay, just check it out. For Mike Johnson, this is Jose Gutierrez once again. Breaking news: a response and reflection on Willie Taggart. He's out at Florida State in less than 2 full seasons, and we'll be back with you more perspective, news, and views with an attitude. Homeboy Sports Network. Let them know, Mike.
When will we be back?
We're gonna be back.
When will we be back? What are you saying?
I said, let them know. Peace. We out
of here. Yeah, we'll see. We'll holler at y'all. Next time.
Where's your producer over on that side of the country? All right,
y'all. Hey, man, I don't want to hear it. I'll stand for the slander.
Make sure y'all subscribe and follow us on YouTube. Peace, love, courage. Your homeboy, Lover J, Mike Johnson, Homeboy Sports Network. Peace.
Peace.
Put him on his back and let him know what's happening.